Hey guys, Boardroom Savage here, and I'm back with another energy moment for you. So, today's energy moment is everybody can't go to the boardroom. Yeah, facts. Everybody can't go to the boardroom. And I'm gonna jump right into it, okay? Because it's Mercury retrograde, and I tried to do this video like 3 times and keep getting met with all kinds of BS, but that's cool. That lets me know that this message really needs to get out because somebody needs to hear this. Now, everybody can't go to the boardroom. 3 main reasons why everybody can't go to the boardroom. 1, not everybody can handle the boardroom. Not everybody can handle your success, okay? Even if it's your day one, even if it's your significant other, even if it's your loved one, friends, family, all of that stuff, your circle, not everyone can handle the boardroom. 2, you are the sum total of the 5 people that you hang around. So if you're here and the next level is you're trying to get to the boardroom and your 5 people are here and they can't see you at the boardroom, or they can't see themselves at the boardroom, they definitely can't see you at the boardroom. Okay? 3, what's for you is for you. So, I know you want to pack up that bus and load everyone up to go with you on your dreams, your goals, and getting to the boardroom. But not everyone is designed to get there. In today's energy message, I'm going to talk about why everybody can't go into the boardroom with you. 1 topic I want to point out is whatever you believe in, that's on you. Whether it's spirit, God, the Most High, universe, divine, whatever you want to call it, that's on you. But the Most High, I'll use it for my video, requires isolation before your elevation. And the reason why that isolation is required is because during that time, the Most High is working on you. He's working on strengthening you in spirit, discernment, your intuition, confidence in the Most High, building your self-esteem. If you have time, I highly recommend you either watch, listen, or read the story of Job. That is a great story about why the Most High requires isolation before your elevation, right? Job lost a lot. Job, he lost his children, he lost his wife, he lost his day one friends, he lost everyone. But there's a meaning in that story when he got it all back in the end. What's funny is that story may be interpreted as, the Most High allowed the devil to test Job's spirit and his love for the Most High. That's one interpretation. Another interpretation is, how to have strength and resilience in undeserved suffering, because he was a good guy, right? And we always hear like bad things happen to good people. And during that time, are you going to curse the Most High, or are you going to lock in with him? So when God is isolating you, the Most High is isolating you, he's strengthening you in your spirit. He's strengthening you with him. And everybody can't go to the boardroom during that time, because that's a very intimate time between you and the Most High. That's you getting to know yourself. That's you getting to know the Most High. That's you reconnecting, whether it's through prayer, meditation, fasting, whatever trials and tribulations. He wants you to have confidence in him, not your significant other, not your friends group, not your homies, not your day ones, not even your kids. Okay? Confidence in him. I did an energy moment where I talked about frenemies in the boardroom. You may want to go back and check that out. It's on my YouTube channel. And this is a prime example why everyone can't go with you to the boardroom, right? Frenemies pretend to be a friend, but they're really an enemy or a rival. And more importantly, if you have a significant other, right? That significant other may not be able to go to the boardroom with you because you may be entertaining the Jezebel spirit and don't even know it. Now, I've done a couple of videos on damsel in distress and Jezebel spirits. Please know, it's not just women who can embody a Jezebel spirit. Men can embody it too. Men can actually embody damsel in distress spirits as well, okay? So I'm not just singling out women. Men can hold these spirits as well. So if you are sleeping with the enemy and that enemy holds these spirits, you blocking your blessings, because the Most High is not going to give you your blessings based on who's around you, because he know their hearts. You think you know their hearts because of how long you know them and what y'all been together, y'all done trauma bonded and all of this other stuff. You think you know that person, but you don't know that person when the millions come around. You don't know who that person is when the Most High is elevating you in your success and now their heart is green with envy. Okay? You know, certain people can't go to the boardroom with you because they may have a hindering spirit, right? A hindering spirit is someone who can sabotage, someone who constantly they're keeping it real by constantly reminding you of your failures, or they just straight up blocking you energetically. So they may sit there and be like, you go girl, or you go bruh, that's what's up. But in their mind, he ain't gonna do that. He ain't gonna do this is what ain't gonna do shit. You don't know what he's saying in his self-talk about you, or she's saying in their self-talk about you. And that energy, if it has momentum, it's going to block your blessings. You know, another thing is the spirit of entitlement. Just because that person knew you forever or they were your first girlfriend does not mean they're entitled to the blessings that the Most High has for you. Some things are just for you. Some things the Most High is only going to reward you for. And if you are people pleasing and you're seeking validation from others who don't matter, you're going to watch your blessing be given to someone else, or you're just not going to receive it at all. One of the best quotes I've heard was, you know, everyone comes into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But you have to learn discernment to know who's in your life for a reason. You have to learn discernment to know who's in your life for a season. And you have to learn discernment to know who's in your life for a lifetime. Because sometimes y'all giving lifetime positions to people who were only supposed to be there for a season and a reason. But because you so dead set on that trauma bond, and you may have abandonment issues and codependency issues, and you feel like I can't let them go when they need to be gone, you're going to block your blessing. So no, everybody can't go into the boardroom. You need to take your isolation like a champ and lock in and get to know yourself, build your relationship with the Most High or whomever you believe in, and start to learn your discernment and learn your intuition, because you're going to need it in the boardroom. I say it all. I've said it in another video. I say it all the time. That one line Jay-Z says, how do you move in a room full of sharks? Intuition, your gut. And if you're listening to your friends, your families, naysayers, silent enemies, and haters, you won't be able to hear your voice, and you won't be able to hear the voice of God, of the Most High. Okay, take your preference, call them what you want to call them. I'm just giving you information. Remember, energy moments were created so that I can give you my lessons, and hopefully that they are blessings for you. Okay? I also want to point out the trauma bonding, because that's important so you can start to discern and use your intuition on your relationships, because you got to sit back and look at your circle. That girlfriend you had, you know, I used to be like, you know, I used to come down so hard on guys, like, you know her for 100 years before you got your NBA, you know, NBA contract, and you left your day one, something's wrong. I used to have that mindset, right? And I used to look at men who went on and they may have left their day one behind and got with someone else. And I'm like, man, that's messed up. Look at Kevin Hart. Unpopular opinion, this is not my business, but I want to give you something. We don't know how many times Tori told him he wasn't funny. Just as much as we don't know how many times she told him, babe, you could do it. We don't know the situation, but what I'm saying is that comedian who might have left his wife for somebody else or got with somebody else when his paper got up, we don't know the backstory. So we shouldn't judge. And I used to judge. I used to be like, man, that's messed up. You're supposed to have your day one with you. Until I learned about trauma bonding. And when I learned about trauma bonding, I was like, oh yeah, you know, you got to cut it, right? Trauma bonding is very powerful because it's an emotional bond created with the reinforcement of reward and punishment. And, you know, it's created by inconsistent and confusing behaviors that creates a love bond. And this forms an abusive relationship. So you might be like, how am I going to be in an abusive relationship with my friend? That's just my friend. That's not my significant other. Because we recognize trauma bonds just to be with significant others instead of looking at, you have trauma bonds with your family. You can have trauma bonds with friends you've known forever. But the most recognizable trauma bond is with the person you're with. So how do trauma bonds work? And how do I know if I have one? Now, disclaimer, get yourself a therapist, okay? A licensed therapist or a counselor to work these inner issues out. I'm just giving you information that you can use that can click the light bulb on, and that you can go and speak to someone to get help on these things. I am not a licensed therapist, nor do I hold myself out to be one. I'm just a chick that been through some stuff, and in my boardroom, I had to learn some lessons on the way to the boardroom and while in the boardroom, and I just decided to turn around and share them with you, okay? There's 7 stages of trauma bonding. And again, the most recognizable trauma bond is the one that you share with your significant other, right? Love bombing, trust and dependency, criticism, gaslighting, addiction, loss of self, resignation, and submission. Those are 7 stages of trauma bonding. And love bombing is when you excessively flatter and praise a partner. Why love bombing is dangerous is because someone that is insecure and they need their ego fed, a frenemy or a Jezebel spirit will use love bombing to get what they want and to manipulate you. Not saying that you're not worthy of praise, okay? But it's the intent behind such praise. Trust and dependency. So that partner may do anything to gain trust and dependence. So you'll be sitting there like, man, you know, he or she buys me things, or they do things for me, or they always help me out in the gym, right? They're building, if that person is doing it with bad intentions, right? So remember that frenemy, you know, that damsel in distress, that Jezebel spirit, if they're doing it with ill intent, that trust and dependency is really them filling up the bucket so they could kick it over. And again, if that person is like, they're buying you things, or they're, oh man, you down $100, let me give you that. And you're like, man, that's my friend because my friend gave me $100 when I needed it most. And you're holding on to that, not knowing that that person is like, yeah, I'm gonna give him or her this now because later on I'm gonna need something. Watch Jackie Brown with Samuel L. Jackson when he said, I hate to be the type of ninja that asks for a favor after I just did a favor. Right. That's that trust and dependency in a negative way, in an unhealthy way. Criticism, you know, in that trauma bond, that partner, you know, will blame or criticize you, you know, to make you feel bad about yourself. Or you might do that to your own self, right? Like, man, why did I do that? Now you talking to yourself crazy and making yourself feel worse. Gaslighting, right? Gaslighting is huge. I'm gonna put a couple of videos in the description about gaslighting and why that is huge, and you gotta recognize it. Because gaslighting will have you, if you dealing with a narcissist, a Jezebel and a narcissist in one person, that person will have you in, they will have you in a double mind. They will have you feeling like you tripping hard. And the whole time they're gaslighting you into thinking it's you. They're projecting. They're making you feel a certain way when it's really them. And you know what your eyes see, you know what you feel, but they will gaslight you into believing like a good one is, you know, I'm taking a second because I need to pull out a good example of gaslighting. Hold on, I want this to be PG friendly if I can. I want to see. Hold on. Good. Okay, I got a good one. That person is controlling. And they're gaslighting you and saying, and when you tell them you're being controlling, no, I'm not. I love you. And I'm doing what's best for you. But they know they're being controlling. They know they're being controlling. But they flood you with, you know, they flood you with emotional manipulation, right? They lie. They manipulate what you saw or your belief. So if you believe that person is controlling because it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it swims like a duck, it looks like a duck, and you're like, no, I know you're being controlling, they'll either straight up lie, they'll manipulate, you know, your reality or your perception of reality, they'll scapegoat someone else, they'll blame someone else who may not even have anything to do with your situation. Oh, well, you're only saying that because your mother was controlling and now you're trying to project that on me. I'm not being controlling. Meanwhile, he or she don't want you hanging out with your friends. He or she don't want you going to the places that you want to go to, whether it's to the gym, whether it's to get coffee or to be by yourself or, you know, to go for a walk or whatever. They want to control your every move. Or they use sex to coerce you. So now you feeling like, man, this person really does love me. Maybe I am tripping. And before you know it, you can't go outside. You want punishment like you 10. That's crazy. That's crazy. Addiction, right? Being emotionally addicted to that partner for the positive reinforcement that comes after abuse. So let's say, for example, that goes back to the love bombing. That person abuses you, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, which we're going to talk about spiritual abuse in a whole nother video, because some of y'all need to be on the lookout for spiritual abuse, especially with this whole everyone's going into spirituality and stuff like this. People will spiritually abuse. Again, it's the intent, that person's heart space. If that person's heart space is dark and wicked, because remember, only the Most High knows a person's heart. And if you can't recognize certain behaviors and certain traits, you're going to get jammed up. It's as simple as that. Addiction to, emotionally addictive is that person builds you up to tear you down. Or painkillers. You have a significant other or friend that does something really jacked up to you, but then they buy you something and then they love bomb you, and you be like, you know what, maybe I'm tripping. But because you're not solid within yourself, you want that person's validation. You want to people please. You want to make everybody happy. Let me tell you something. Everybody ain't going to be happy in the boardroom. Things can be fair in the boardroom. You give and take in the boardroom. But you can't make it your mission to make everyone happy in a boardroom, because then you're going to lose yourself. That's why God isolates you, and he wants you to yourself so you can discern these behaviors. You can have the intuition when dealing with these people in your boardroom. And the people that ain't supposed to be there ain't going to be there in the boardroom. Lots of self. You do so much to please this other partner that you don't even know who you are. This, again, everything that I'm saying, because partners and significant others is so popular, you can apply these same tactics to friendships. Okay? Male or female. If you a dude and you got a homie, yo, look at you, my dude. Yo, you fly today. That's my guy. Da da da. And in his heart, he really ain't rocking with you like that. Trust and dependency with that same homeboy. Y'all done did some dirt together. Meanwhile, he was using that dirt to collect it on you to use it as leverage. Whereas you thinking y'all bonding. These are all signs of a trauma bond. And when you start losing yourself to please other people and you don't know who you are, you're not going to be able to make it to the boardroom and receive what the Most High has for you in that boardroom. Resignation and submission. You constantly giving in to avoid conflict. I've uploaded or should be uploading when I talked about Jezebel spirits and damsels in distress. And I talked about how it goes back to your mother issues and your parental issues, that if you don't heal those parental issues from your childhood, how that reflects in your adulthood. If your mother was a controlling woman and you always had to walk on eggshells and, basically submit to keep the peace, you're going to get a woman like that. You're going to pick a woman like that because it's normal to you when it's not healthy. But it's normal. We have normalized dysfunctional friendships and relationships, all for the sake of abandonment issues and codependency issues, which I'm going to seg right into this. Oh, before I segment into this, I want to give you a couple of examples that I found on trauma bonding and healthy bonding. So, a trauma bond, the relationship is all highs and lows. So one minute, y'all, I love you, man. I love you, woman. I love you, I love you, I love you. And the next minute, you ain't rocking with them. In a relationship, it would look like one minute, y'all having sex, y'all are happy, everything is good, you cooking him dinner, he remembering to take the trash out, like it is so good, everything is high. And then next thing you know, it's a low. But they're extreme highs and extreme lows, okay? You go from here to here all the time. That's a sign of a trauma bond. A healthy bond is the relationship is steady. It may have a dip. Y'all might get into it here and there, right? Because nothing is perfect. Okay, we're all human, right? But the relationship is steady. And I'm going to point this out. Some people take steady relationships and look at it as, oh, it's boring. Because you used to toxicity. You used to dysfunction. So that high and that low, it's like a drug addiction. You always chasing that white horse. when steady is where you should be at in your relationship. Yeah, it should be peaceful 90% of the time. 10%, y'all gonna go through something. But that's human nature because you learn in each other. Trauma bonding, you don't think you can survive without each other. I can't survive. I gotta constant. That's the clinginess and the neediness. You don't think you can survive without that person. If you and that person break up, I want to kill myself. I want to do extreme harm. Or I'm crazy, I'm going to stalk you. And your next girlfriend, I'm going to stalk her too. Trauma bonding. How to recognize a healthy bond is you recognize that that person is their own person. He or she's their own person. They're going to do their own thing. Let them live. Let them be themselves. Trauma bond, you hate them and then you love them. That's that 1 minute you fussing and fighting, the next minute in the bedroom. A healthy bond is, even if I'm angry, I still love you. So I might not agree with what you did. I might not agree with what you said, but I still love you. I'm not going to hate you because of a disagreement. Trauma bonding, the other person's needs are more important. Go back to Jezebel's spirit and damsel in distress. That damsel in distress that you want to feel like Captain Save-A-Ho is going to wear you down because you're going to constantly, because she's needy. She's not self-sufficient. She has no identity outside of you or the relationship. So guess what? You're going to constantly be trying to please somebody that can't be pleased because they don't know how to please themselves. So you're going to always make their needs more important than yours. And that goes back to frenemies in the boardroom, why you can't bring them in the boardroom, and sleeping with the enemy, and why you can't bring a significant other who has a Jezebel spirit or the damsel in distress. You can't bring them with you into the boardroom. And they block your blessings. And because you want to people please, you losing the blessings that the Most High has for you because you want to people please. Another trauma bond is you ignore red flags and unacceptable behaviors. That's the gaslighting too, right? Oh, hold on. Healthy bond. Instead of making someone's needs more important than yours, you both in a healthy bond respect the needs of each other. So both of your needs are important and they're respected. So if you need, I'm a high introvert. I require alone time, a lot of alone time. So if I'm dealing with someone, or when I choose to deal with someone and decide to open myself up for a relationship, that person will have to understand that I require mental alone time. I'm not doing anything. I'm in here making a video for you, manifesting my shit, reading, writing, maybe praying, meditating, recharging. And if that person is trauma bonded, that leads into boundaries, and we're about to get into that in a second. But I'm always gonna I know I need to be alone to recharge so I could be my best self for my mate. But because I'm putting their needs first and I'm trying to people please and I'm seeking that validation to get more love bombing, that flattery and praise before you punch me in the eye, it's not cool. It's not gonna work. You ignore red flags and unacceptable behavior when you're trauma bonded. She done cheated on you like 10 times. And each time she convinced you it was your fault. He done cheated on you 10 times. And he done convinced you why he need to cheat. It's just what men do. And it's your fault too, because you didn't pay me enough attention, because you was working too much, or you was friends with somebody I didn't want you to be friends with, so I went out and did this. That's unacceptable behavior. You know that. Red flags are the biggest. That's where that discernment and that intuition kick in. You know that red flag is like bling, bling, bling. You know it's wrong. You know it's wrong. But you accept it because you trauma bonded. A healthy relationship, healthy bonding, there are boundaries and there's trust. If you with somebody that can't respect your boundaries, you don't need to be with that person. Healthy boundaries are required to make relationships work, whether it's with loved ones, whether it's with friends, whether it is with a significant other. And you setting a boundary to protect yourself from pain or hurt, and that person is, Charlie Murphy said, habitual line stepper. If you dealing with a habitual line stepper, they don't respect your boundaries. They're telling you that what they got going on is more important than you, and they don't want to respect that boundary. If I said, please take your shoes off before you come in my house, and you don't want to respect that boundary, because for me, one, you bringing dirt from the outside to the inside, but from spiritual, like leave that energy over there. Come over here where the energy is good. Not you, Kobe. That's my doggy. He's very calm. I don't want him to come over here. He was napping and he was like, what? She want me to come over here? Let me stop saying that word. But anywho, they don't respect your boundaries. And boundaries is something that you need to feel secure within yourself. And there's also trust. So even though I have these boundaries where it's like, look, no matter what, I gotta go do my 5-mile jog because I need that time in nature and I need to replenish myself. If I'm dealing with someone, we have a healthy bond, they're gonna understand I'm not on the jog looking for, okay? I'm trying not to curse, but you get what I'm saying. Or I'm not doing something I have no business doing. There's trust there. Trauma bonding. You think that if you give that person everything they want and you change yourself to the core, that's gonna magically make things better and make that person happy. You are not responsible for somebody's happiness. You are responsible for yourself and you are responsible for your own happiness. And if changing who you are, if you can't be yourself, the best advice I ever got was from a 16-year-old girl. And this was a few years ago. Shout out to Kenise and Maddie. She said, Auntie, you can't be yourself. You don't need to be in that relationship. It's like, what? One, I'm grown. You want to tell me? But it was like, damn. I had to change myself to make another person happy to the point where I didn't know who I was. I couldn't be myself. Just exist and just be who I am, who I am at my core, because I needed to care about what someone else thought, validation, people pleasing. And you keep changing yourself thinking that's gonna make that person happy, but they keep requiring something else. So you done changed 10 things about yourself to make this one person happy or this one group of friends happy. They still ain't happy and they want to keep depleting you. This is why everybody can't go to the boardroom. And you gonna block your blessings. You gonna miss your bus. You gonna miss your train trying to take everybody with you to the boardroom. Healthy bonding is you focus on growing separately and together. So you focus on making yourself the best person that you can by yourself. That person is doing the same. So is your friend group. And then y'all are focused on doing things together to where you guys are growing together. Also, my favorite on a trauma bond is you're convinced no one else will love you. Or that person tries to convince you. Look at all your faults. You fat, you this, who gonna love you? Who gonna love you and you got 3 kids? Who wants you? Or who gonna love you and you 100 pounds overweight? Ain't nobody gonna love you but me. Yeah, I messed up. Yeah, I got red flags and unacceptable behavior, and I want you to me first, but who gonna love you? And you start to convince yourself that, man, you know, all my faults and imperfections, nobody's gonna love me for me. No one else will love me. Let me just stay here in this trauma bond. You miserable as hell. You getting sick. You about to have heart disease and a heart attack. Because that person convinced you nobody else will love you, and then you in turn convince yourself nobody will love you. A healthy bond is honest communication. Honest communication. You shouldn't be afraid to tell that person, hey, I don't like what you're doing to me. And that person should be able to listen and not go to hell off. Well, what you mean? I ain't do nothing to you. You just sensitive. Let me tell you, if you are communicating that you don't like something or something is hurting you and your feelings, you feel a certain way, and the first thing that person says is you are being sensitive, you better look at gaslighting and you better check that shit. In healthy bonds, both your needs are met. You're not just meeting that person's needs, they're meeting your needs while you're meeting their needs. It's equal give and take. And be aware. You know, trauma bonding, sometimes that relationship can mirror patterns from your childhood experience, which I brought up. Like if you had a mom that was like always on edge, cursing everybody, then you get with a woman that's talking to you crazy and you just used to it because you're like, well, my mama was doing this. In a trauma bond, you will betray yourself to receive love. That means you don't have self-love. Trauma bond, oh, you complete me. I'm nothing without you. No, a healthy bond is if I'm with you, I make you better, you make me better. Healthy bonding relationships are based on freedom, accountability, and mental peace. Again, God requires your isolation. If you are with someone and you're dating and that person can't respect your boundaries, and even if you're not dating and you're married, and you be like, babe, you know, I'm going to the basement. I need 3 days alone. Hypothetically, right? 3 days alone in the basement. Hopefully you ain't got a body down there. Who knows, right? That person should be able to give you that space so that you can go into your solitude and work out whatever it is that you need to work out, so that you can come back and be refreshed for that person. Your relationship should have mental peace. Again, the same advice that I'm giving you is the same advice that you need to use for friendships and business relationships. It's dealing with people. You can have a coworker that gaslights you. Oh, you being sensitive, Frank. I didn't mean it like that. That was a backhanded comment. He or she meant it like that. But because you trying to get along, you're double-minded, like maybe I'm tripping. Nah, you're not tripping. But if you didn't go into that solid, you know, that isolation to where you can strengthen your spirit and your discernment and your intuition and your confidence in the Most High and build your self-esteem, you always going to be a victim of gaslighting. You always going to be a victim of love bombing. All of these traits that I'm telling you about. And then what's going to happen is you're going to constantly be submitting and your needs is never going to be met and you're never going to be happy. And guess what? God is not going to bless you in a boardroom if that's who you are. If everybody around you is a trauma bond, because what that tells him is you're going to squander your blessings. You're going to be giving to people that should not be given to. And you shouldn't be around people who feel entitled to what God has for you. If God wants them to be there or wants you to give it to them, when you come out your isolation and you get into your boardroom, He gonna have a healthy way and you're gonna be healthy enough to give to and receive from other people, places, things, and friends. Listen, I can go all day about this. And if you think you're in a trauma bond, and if you think that, you know, you don't know how to deal with isolation, you know what? Quick note before I do go. I'm going to give y'all a couple of minutes. Let's talk about abandonment and codependency issues. Because again, everything that I'm telling you, I'm not giving relationship advice. I'm giving advice for you to be centered and to be who you need to be, so that when you go into that boardroom, you confident, you sharp, you listening to your intuition, you making deals and moves based on your God spirit, your energy. Not trying to, I need to take this deal because my mama needs some money and I got to make her happy. So now you done signed a contract you shouldn't have signed and you can't get out of it. She not going to be the person that's going to reap the consequences of that. You are. You are. You know, signs you may have abandonment issues. You're overgiving and overfunctioning in relationships. You leave the relationship first because you don't want to be left. You're distrustful. Codependency issues. You want to control everything and everyone. You stay in bad relationships. You're in serial relationships and serial dating. That goes back to God requiring your isolation. Learn how not to be friends with a person and not to be in a relationship. So if you jump out of one relationship and get to the next because you didn't take the time to evaluate yourself, evaluate what went wrong, sometimes you need to sit out an inning. Sometimes you need to sit out a quarter. Look at how you contributed or look at the relationship for what it was. And abandonment, you're constantly being drawn to unavailable and untrustworthy people. I talked about this in my Jezebel spirit and my damsel in distress energy moment when I talk about how men, I was addressing men at the time, you always going for gold diggers. You always going for the Jezebel spirit because she tell you what she want to hear. She always wish she kicking that shit in your ear. And you're not looking at, you ignoring red flags and you accepting, you know, behavior you should not be accepting for false validation. She's emotionally unavailable. She can't love you because she don't love herself. Sometimes loving yourself is telling them no, we can't do that. I love me more. And if that person has a problem with it, might need to reevaluate that situation. You know, people who have, you know, who are codependents, they typically have abandonment issues. And again, it goes back to neglect in your childhood or being abused in your childhood, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, and you didn't heal that. You didn't work through that pain. That pain sucks, trust me. Trust me, I know. One day I'm going to tell y'all my story. And it's going to be soon, right? I'm going to tell you soon. But I had to work through some serious childhood issues to get to the boardroom. And it's nothing wrong with that because you can't, listen, you don't get out of, you may not get, you may have a great childhood, and then some may not have had a great childhood. But I'm talking to the ones who didn't have a great childhood. It's okay. Go back and heal that so that you're not cursing the next generation that comes from your legacy. What are abandonment issues? Intrusive thoughts, deep-seated fear of abandonment, right? Another coping mechanisms for abandonment issues can be a needy person, male or female. This could go for either way. And then friendships. You could have a homegirl that's needy as hell. You like, girl, goddamn, I done spoke to you 6 hours on the phone. Let me go to bed. insecure, clingy, jealous, manipulative, because they don't want to be left alone, obsessive, controlling, addicted to substance abuse. It could be have sex addictions, right? Dependent on an abusive partner. Self-imposed isolation, that's twofold, because sometimes people don't isolate to elevate, they isolate not to be triggered or not to be hurt, and then depression takes over. That's another story for another day. So again, I recommend you, if you have any questions, seek a really good therapist, a really good counselor, and let that out. Sometimes you just need to say it, get it out your head, so you can clear space for good things to come in. Because you can't keep pushing it down, because then it goes into these behaviors. And when you take people into the boardroom that should not go into the boardroom with you, you're gonna lose. I also want to point out, you want to know also too how to test who should be in a boardroom with you and who shouldn't. If you notice that every time you tell a particular person, whether it's your lover or your friend, something good that's happening to you, and you ain't tell nobody else, but you told that one person and something went wrong or it didn't work out, 9 times out of 10, that person's energy is wishing bad on you. You may not want to face this reality. You may not want to accept it. Don't be coming for me in the comments, because I got time and smoke. I have no problems with getting at you, because I know when you're triggered, you want to lash out. Take that to a therapist. Don't take it out on Boardroom Savage. Again, my lessons are to be blessings to you. I just want to help. And if anything that I'm saying is triggering you, that means you need to heal that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. You can't bring that over here. My wall of positivity is strong as fuck, okay? I'm a high empath. I know when the emotions are mine and when they not. So you can keep it over there. But I'm telling you how to help yourself. Don't get mad. Get a therapist. And get a good one. Get a good one. You might need to get a therapist. You might ask good questions. Make sure one of the best therapists that you can pick is one that understands trauma. Because then they're going to be able to help you identify your coping mechanisms and your own behaviors and how you're contributing to your own trauma. And they're going to be able to tell you how to leave these relationships and these friendships that are trauma bonds. Because again, God don't bless no mess. So if your circle messy and your relationship messy and you ain't with the right person, you ain't got the right people around you, you're not going to walk into your boardroom, because everybody can't go in the boardroom. And don't let your people pleasing, don't let your need for seeking validation outside of yourself or from other people trick you up out your spot and trick you up out your blessings. Because let me tell you, the same people that you put in their needs before your needs is the same people that given the same opportunity that you had, they will drop you like a hot potato and they will move on up into their boardroom and be content with not giving you a seat. I hope this helps. If you like my vibe, please like, share, and subscribe. And meet me again for another energy moment. Ciao.